I also think the Titans imprisoned Elune, and I think they may have used Yasharaj to do it. I think we're gonna go to the moon, because that's no moon. And on the dark side of the moon, I hope that we're gonna find the Black Forest. I hope that at the core of the Black Forest, we find Elune chained to a tree. And I hope that that tree in some capacity is Yasharaj bound to the Emerald Dream, to Azeroth, linking it all together. The Black Goat. Lost in the woods. All that shit. All that scary imagery, you know? The Black Forest on the dark side of the moon, where scary moon beasts and terrifying creatures like that exist. Not on the nice, lovely side. What is the Black Forest? The Black Forest is something that appears from a Zalato quote. Do you guys know what Zalato is? Desecrated Gorehowl? So this is from the Shaw of Pride corrupting Garrosh's axe. Garrosh then taking the axe and further empowering it with the heart of Yasharaj. It's an axe called Zalato, which should probably set off some bells in your brain, considering Zalatath is also a weapon. He says, you should kill them all, you must kill them all. Eyes are windows to the soul, shutter them forever. Pluck their wings, leave them broken, pay the cost of greatness. All should bow before you, make them. All that you have accomplished, all that you have won, yet still you lick the boots of kings. Carve more slowly that I may feed, embrace your rage, caress your fear, gorge your hatred, voice your doubts. When you walk among the Black Forest, you will see. I can taste the essence of your soul, it is sweet. When players die, with each thread unraveled, a step closer to my realm. Another blemish on your soul. You will rest in Nyalotha. Would be interesting if Nyalotha was the afterlife for the old gods. When you kill Il'gynoth, that's where it goes. I believe that several of the mortal races actually used to exist as servants to the old gods before the Titans came. So the premise of resting in Nyalotha as a mortal is an interesting one, given what we're led to believe about flesh and how it links to several of the mortal races. It's a plane, right, but so is the Shadowlands. I don't differentiate, like, I think one thing you must understand, planes, planets, planetary bodies, like moons, and suns, and entities, they're all linked together. That is to say that I think the Emerald Dream is a realm that one could perceive as a planet. And same with the Shadowlands. I almost kind of see the different planes almost as like planet-like places that are hanging on the branches of a big cosmic tree. And if you were to go through the branches, it's like traversing the twisting nether. The space that links them all together, that's borders all realities and links to all places. That could be wrong. Some would say, and it is said, that Twisting Nether is the realm of disorder, or plane of disorder. So that's what the Dreadlords call it, the plane of disorder. But it said that there are worlds inside that plane. So we could be looking, like I've said before, like a vast cosmic network where reality is all of these planets in a space connected to one another through the Twisting Nether that exist in their own like kind of like pockets of existence, but they're all part of the same plane. I would say the same thing probably exists for the Emerald Dream, where like it goes out and connects to different planets, and there's different realms of life in that regard. Probably the same maybe in the Void, with like different entropic planets and whatever that is, like also in the Twisting Nether with disorderly planets and stuff like that. So I don't know, a big kind of multiverse type thing, which is not that much of a stretch of the imagination considering what I'm playing through right now. Use the proper name, Pyro the Disorderlands. Fight me. Then what is the Emerald Nightmare? Well, I was listening to, I think it was I don't remember if it was a YouTube video or what it was the other day. It was talking about the premise of how like consistently experiencing like the same unchanging dream. And this is not pertaining to WoW. This is like just someone just talking about dreaming. Like unending would be kind of awful, and that like eventually you would want some kind of change to occur, even if that means a nightmare, because you just get kind of bored of and apathetic to what is constantly occurring. So when I think about the dream being in a state of stasis and unchangingness, that's kind of what I think about, is like, is the Emerald Dream really the taint of old gods and then by extension the void? Or is it more a manifestation of the stagnancy of the dream manifesting as rot and decay and manifesting as this horrific nightmare because the dream is not being allowed to change? That's more what I think it is. And that's kind of how I see the light and void as well, is that like when the light is kind of held in this unchanging state for too long, its energy will be lost. It's not infinite, and it will turn into void, and entropy will come and it'll spread. So like conceptually, I think that those types of things exist among different forces as well in the way that they behave. That's kind of what I see the Emerald Nightmare to be, is you know, the rot and decay that's occurring. And in a way, it's a reflection of truth, because the only way that you should, really, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but the way that you would fuel a realm of life like that, I would think, would be through the power of decay, at least somewhat. Like, you need to have decay. I think that that's kind of what Ardenweald more is supposed to represent, is like the decay side of things, where things are kind of broken down and kind of, you know, because that's how nature works, right? Like, you know, foliage and things die and fall down to the ground, and those nutrients and things go into the soil and make new things, and new things grow on them, and like all sorts of shit. Like, could the Emerald Dream be the result of Azeroth sleeping? Yeah, it very well could be. The dream being a realm of life and creation that connects to and extends out to maybe every realm of existence where life is, like, yeah, it certainly could be related to Azeroth's consciousness, just in the same way that perhaps once the Shadowlands could have been to Argus. And I kind of think that dichotomy, that kind of white and black, that kind of yin and yang view is, you know, I think that's what it is. I want to know if the first ones are peaceful or if they have intent. I would see them as omnipotent and omniscient to the point where it would be extremely difficult for me to view them as having malicious intent. I think that it is probably, the way I see it, I think, is often through the lens of them not really having, how do I put this? They had a design for the universe, but the design is flawed on purpose. That's kind of what I think, is that it can't be as perfect as the first ones are. Their designs can only ever hope to be that. And I think that flaw is, again, the expression of divinity. And Farim is going to get into this as we read more of his journals. But he's concerned that the first one's mechanisms were not meant to endure. And it is that possibility which terrifies him, because Farim isn't immortal. And I don't think that he conceives of it and has come to grips to it in the same way that we have. That's why Farim isn't the one who solves the first one's thing. It's the player. It's because the mortal perspective is key in understanding, and it's beautiful, in understanding the necessity of the cycle's end. And that imbalance is what will lead to it. So the Titans thinking that they can halt the cycle, Sargeras maybe even thinking that he could halt the cycle, will inadvertently lead them to ending it. Because that's how they're designed. Because that's how it's designed. The flaw is what lets it work. Perfection, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It can't be.